Mike Pence recently made the case for why we should maybe rethink this whole NATO thing.
I am convinced that if the Ukrainian military doesn't stop and repel that Russian invasion, it's not going to be too long before that Russian army crosses a border that our men and women in uniform are going to have to go and fight under our NATO treaty.
Pence didn't say what particular country he thought American troops might go to, but a CBS News poll conducted last week showed that only 24% of Americans supported sending troops to Ukraine. Ukraine is not in NATO, thank God. But it's not hard to fathom, as Mike Pence is predicting, American troops going to a NATO member nation and the American public not being on board with that either. When over 3/4 of those polled said they didn't want American troops going to Ukraine, I think Americans are kind of done with these foreign wars. Congressman Thomas Massie picked up on this quick, saying on social, Pence is unwittingly making the case for rethinking the NATO treaty that supposedly obligates the U.S. to engage in every European war. Massie is right. NATO was created in 1949 as a post-World War II way to contain the Soviet Union. Why in 2023 should the United States be on the hook for the defense of so many of these countries? Pro-NATO advocates would of course say this Russia-Ukraine conflict is exactly why we need NATO, maybe now more than ever. But wiser minds for decades kept predicting, kept warning that if we kept pushing and expanding NATO and being in Russia's backyard, that conflict was inevitable, and here we are. Mike Pence saying what he said.
It's not going to be too long before that Russian army crosses a border that our men and women in uniform are going to have to go and fight.
Should give everyone pause. And if that day should ever come, as Mike Pence thinks it will, that we'll send troops abroad once again for a murky mission and not certain reasons, a lot more Americans are going to be asking questions too.